Hey everybody, Poker Dad here. Um, I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different. I played 500 hands tonight between BetOnline and Ignition, but now I'm part of Upswing Poker. I have access to their video replayer, and you're actually able to convert hands over to their video replayer. I'm actually just going to show you, instead of showing you hands from my live session where I was actually playing, I'm just going to show you. I have 14 different hands from my session tonight that I'm just going to show you guys. I think it'd be a pretty fun way of looking over some of my hands from this session and just to kind of get my thought process of what I was thinking as they were happening. Just a little bit of an update. I am on a really bad downswing right now. I'm on a 17 buy-in downswing currently over the last, since the 19th. So since last Tuesday, I am on a 17 buy-in downswing. Um, but I actually have adjusted my bankroll system. Just to give you an idea, Bitcoin money is always been reserved for poker. So I have decided, even though Bitcoin is obviously fluctuating up and down a lot, I'm not really so concerned about that right now as much as I am just continuing to improve my game and things like that. I've only been playing for about 6 months or so, so I'm not as concerned about the bankroll as I am more concerned about my progress. So I've adjusted my bankroll and I'm including my Bitcoin now. I've also adjusted my amount of buy-ins. So I've adjusted up. I was 15. I've adjusted up to 20, and I'm not taking any shots. Just when I hit the 20 buy-in plateau, I'll move up to that limit, and then if I drop below, I'll move down. I'm not really as concerned about that as I am more concerned about being able to beat the micro stakes, which is very important at this point to be able to beat the micro stakes. Because if I can't beat the micro stakes, how could I be able to expect to beat other levels? Anyway, let's look at these hands from tonight. So the first hand here is Queen Jack suited. So let's see, I'm in the under the gun here, and of course I'm going to open up the betting, and we get a 3-bet here from the cutoff. As you can see, a 3x 3-bet, and I do obviously call it, which I think is a definitely the right call here. I'm also going off of Upswing has some great charts, which I love their 3-bet charts actually. So I flatted here, and we get here 10 ace and 9. So I at a position I actually check here, and I'm checking with the intention to definitely call or even raise this here as a bluff, since we have really great. We got a lot of great stuff happening here. We got a flush draw, and we also have a straight draw as well. So the cutoff though checks. So obviously we'll see the next card here. The next card's a 7, which really isn't doing much for me here. Now, I mean, what are we thinking? He's obviously got he 3-bet us here, so he could definitely have some kind of suit. Maybe he has king queen diamonds is definitely possible. He could. I don't think he has aces because he definitely would bet aces. Maybe he has kings. Maybe he has queens, but I'm blocking queens, so it's quite possible he has kings. Anyway, I do decide to bet here, really as a bluff more than anything, especially after he checked there. In retrospect, it was kind of a bluff, kind of a value as well, in case I do hit my diamonds here. And he was very timid by checking, so I definitely think this is a spot that I could definitely bet here. And he does decide to call the bet. And here on the river, we have another complete dud. So I definitely made something. I did something here that I really shouldn't be doing at the micros, and that is a river bluff with air. I'm noticing it's not working. This is something I've picked up from Upswing Labs, and it really is not. I don't really think it applies here to the micros. So I did this, of course, here, and he called it. And as you can see, he had ace queen. So he 3-bet me with ace queen, which is a perfectly fine 3-bet, of course. Especially from the cutoff, because if he flats me, he might have some more people come in there. So I think it's definitely the right 3-bet for him here in ace queen, and he did have the ace here. So obviously there's no way I'm getting him off of this, unfortunately. And you could definitely make the argument that it just was not. It was not a good bluff here, because what am I representing, right? The 7 comes out. Now I called the 3-bet, So the 7 comes out. Sure, I could have a set of 7s, but he's not really worried about a set of 7s here. Um, he's not worried about a set of 9s. He's not worried about a set of 10s because I wouldn't have checked a set of 10s and I wouldn't have checked a set of 9s. He's not worried about an ace because he has an ace, of course, so he's not thinking I have aces, and I definitely wouldn't have checked a set of aces. Yeah, maybe I would have definitely checked kings, and what is he worried about kings for, right? Because he has an ace. So definitely not a good bluff at all in retrospect. And with a 7 coming out and a 4 coming out, he's not worried about that at all. He's definitely going to call his ace. And if he loses, so be it. But just definitely not a good bluff. So on to the next hand. Okay. So we have a poster right over here in seat number 6 in the middle position. I have ace 4 suited in the big blind. So we get a min raise here from middle position, who was the poster. And I decide to just flat him from the big blind. Now, I could have definitely 3-bet him here, but I didn't really see the purpose of 3-betting since I wasn't going to isolate him or anything like that. No reason to 3-bet him and make him, fold worse hands, possibly, keep in better hands. So that was the plan. Here I get a flush draw. So I definitely could have bet this flush draw. Let's see if I did. I don't remember if I did or not. I didn't. In retrospect, I could have, but with him being a pre-flop raiser, I was, this kind of board here, I could definitely see him c-betting this board. So my plan really was going to actually raise him if he bet, and just raise him as a bluff. So he doesn't, unfortunately. He checks it. So we go to the turn, and the turn is great. I get enough flush. So now my concern is, how the heck am I going to get value out of this guy? If he didn't bet the flop, I really doubt he's betting the turn, because I feel like he would have definitely bet if he had a flush draw. So I definitely had to now open up the betting here, and I did 29 cents. I actually did a pretty light bet because I just wanted to get him to call this bet here, and then I can make a much larger bet on the river. And he does call the bet here. And now we get an ace. And I'm actually really happy that there's an ace out there because I got to think he definitely has an ace. He definitely has aces in his range considering that he did raise pre-flop here. So I'm figuring I should definitely be able to get some money here. The pot's $1.03, and I do a pot size bet. Just figuring, he's definitely going to be calling if he has an ace, and he does call it. And I don't know what he had, unfortunately, but it doesn't matter because we won the hand. And at least I was able to get some more value there by betting pot and him calling pot. So I think the ace was definitely great. He most definitely had, I believe he most definitely had some kind of ace, which is why he, and maybe he had an ace and maybe he had a heart too. So maybe he had some kind of ace and some kind of heart, which is why he called the turn. Quite possible, of course. So the next hand we have. Let's see. We are sitting in the small blind with Ace-Jack offsuit. Okay, and we get a limp from the under the gun and a limp from the cutoff. So I decide to bet it here in the small blind, up 50 cents, of course, with the 2 limpers. I will definitely no longer be flatting in the small blind going forward. It's a great thing I learned. It's like the worst position, really. So we get a fold from the big blind, the under the gun calls, and the cutoff folds, which is fine. And here we get second. We get a pair of jacks. So a hand like this, I'm out of position. I'm going to check and call any kind of bet here with potential second pair. So I do check. And he checks behind, which is fine. So now, I can definitely rule out kings because I feel like, I think he would definitely, if he had a king, he would definitely bet a king. And now we get another king. So this king actually makes things really interesting. So I actually decide to bet here. I feel really good about my jack now at this point. I definitely don't think he has a king because he would have bet the king here. So, and also if he has a king here, there also is a pretty good chance he's going to raise this. And he just flat calls it. Fine. So I really do believe I'm ahead at this point. I'm guessing, the fact that he called this here, obviously, I think he could definitely have a jack and he could definitely have a five. I don't see anything else unless of course he has some kind of pocket pair. He could also have three comes out. Obviously, this three does nothing for anybody here. I checked it. Um, I don't know if I really agree with the check here, but obviously checking it when he bets, I'm definitely going to call. And he does bet. He bets $1 into 275. So I could make the argument that I definitely could have bet here. Um, I bet on the turn. I do believe I have the best hand here. But yeah, I mean, look, could he have had a king and then bet and then now bet a king with three kings? Maybe he just had a weak king or something like that. It's always possible. So he bet. I checked. I checked with the intention to check call, and I did call, and he flipped fives. So I took down the hand with the jacks. I think it was a great hand for me here. Just basically reading the fact that, getting that bet on the turn, just reading the fact that I really did not believe he had kings. I kind of expected to take it down on the turn, but when he bet, I decided to play it a little more cautiously now. Maybe my hand was not as good as I thought it was, which is why I checked and definitely called. I mean, I wasn't going to check fold. Even if he bet really big, I was definitely going to call it. But, that's what happened. Okay. Okay, so here we have ace king from the small blind. So obviously we know this will be a 3-bet spot here. Of course, when we get the limp in there from the button, I'll bump it up to 40 cents. And the button calls, so we'll be out of position, which we're going to be out of position no matter what because we're going to be in a small blind. Here we get 3 jack 10. So it's an interesting spot for me. I have a gut shot. I'm out of position. I was the open raiser, so I think this is actually probably going to be a good spot for me here to throw out a C-bet. But as I see, I don't throw out the C-bet, but I'm definitely checking with the intention to call. And he checks as well. So I definitely could have C-bet here, and maybe I should have C-bet here. In retrospect, I think I should have actually C-bet here, as potentially a bluff with the gut shot. But anyway, because I did have equity here, definitely. In retrospect, now I believe I definitely should have. I definitely should have because he's going to have a big calling range too. He's in position. He's in the button. He's going to call a lot of hands regardless. So in retrospect, yeah, I definitely should have c-bet this here, and not just bank on the fact that maybe I'm going to get a call or potentially a raise situation opportunity. Now we get a six. I mean, the six doesn't really do much here. Maybe now he has got some kind of 3-4-5. Maybe he has some kind of gut shot. Maybe he could also, of course, have a flush draw happening here. So let's see what happens here. Here I decide to check again. Now I definitely, I really feel like I could have definitely bet in this spot here. The six is really not going to do much. I definitely think I could have bet here, and he probably could just fold his hand. He actually bets it. So this is interesting. He bets it, and I actually raised him. Okay, so this is the spot. This is the spot. Okay, perfect. He bets. I raised it. So what happened here? I don't really feel like he has much happening here, of course, at this point. Does he have a set of sixes possible? Of course, that's possible. I don't think he really connected much in any way here because I think on my check I think he would have bet the 10 or the jack, maybe even would have bet a 3. And if he has 3, then I'm not too worried about that anyway. My raise here was definitely a bluff, so it was a bluff for the gut shot. Now, was it a good bluff? I don't mind it. I don't mind it, but as long as I shut it down on the river here, I think, depending on what the river card is. So he, of course, calls it, which is interesting to say the least. Obviously, I'm just hoping to get the queen here, or maybe even if I can just get an ace or a king, even though an ace or queen could obviously complete a a straight for him as well. And the ace does come out. So here now we have top pair, top kicker. So I mean, do I think he is going to bet? Check this, but then call my raise here with a flush? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I think that really rules out any kind of flush that he can have. Um, so it's possible he has a set jacks, tens. No, because if he had a jacks or tens, he would have bet. Hmm. Well, look what happens. I remember what happened here. I checked. He bet 281 into a pot of 396. It's interesting. I folded it. So I folded this here. I think in retrospect, if I go back and I look at this again, if I were to play this hand again right now, I think I would call this bet. Because as I look at the way this hand went, right? He calls. Let's say he has. I mean, could he have a set? I mean, he could have a set. He could have a set. That. Let's look at the turn again. Turn 6. I check. He bets. You know what else he could have actually? I mean, what he could have had ace 6 suited. So what he could have had? Could he have had ace 6 suited? Um, what would it be? Ace 6 of clubs is possible. So you know what? You know what? Is it impossible here to then think that he had either sixes or ace 6 suited? I mean, it's only one combo. The only ace 6 suited he could have is ace 6 of clubs. Hmm. I think I should have called this. I think I should have called this bet. I definitely think I should have called this bet. It's just the whole thing of him calling my raise is interesting. Is he really going to call a raise with just a pair of sixes with an ace? And he opened it up. It really feels like trip 6. It really feels like a set of sixes. So I guess it might have been a good fold. All right, so here we have ace 3 in the ace 3 suited in the button, and we get a bet here for 34 cents. So I actually decide to 3-bet it here from the button, which is actually a great 3-bet bluff hand from there. I've actually been doing really good by raising these suited ace 4, ace 5, ace 3 hands from this spot. Something I learned from Upswing, which is great. Just a great hand to it's a 3-bet bluff there, and yeah, you can definitely play this post flop as well. It's a hand most people aren't going to put you on. So here I get just bottom pair. So let's see. He checks to me here. I elect to bet half pot because you know what? I could probably just take down the pot right here if he didn't really hit anything. It's really not a great board for him, of course. 10-9-3. Calling my 3-bet. So, I think this is definitely a good spot to throw out a c-bet. And I like to c-bet my 3-bets anyway. So half pot, which is perfectly fine in this spot here. He does call it. And here comes a 7 on the turn. Interesting spot now at this point. He checks, and I decide to check back, of course, now at this point. Because now I'm thinking, what is it that he bet here? He's checking too, but he could just be checking out of position, which is perfectly normal, expecting to bet here. So I could definitely put him on a set of tens. It's possible that he's going to slow play it. It's definitely possible, but obviously I'm not going to bet. Obviously, right here, my hand, all of a sudden, when he calls it, I just did a standard C bet. Obviously, I'm just going to be checking behind here. And now we get a 2 of hearts. So the 2 of hearts comes, and he bets $2.11. So, I was really thinking about this at this point. Should I call this or should I fold? And I thought really hard about it. I thought really, really hard about this actually. What is it that he's betting with here? And I don't know what it was, but something came in my mind. What if he has nothing, right? What if he had ace king and didn't four bet me here? And I thought about the fact that he didn't four bet me. So yeah, okay, sure, he could definitely have the tens, but I, I think I don't know. I just feel like these guys are going to be more aggressive with a set of tens on the turn. I don't think he's going to be checking the set of tens on the turn. So all of a sudden, I'm just thinking, you know, he may not have anything, and he might just have ace high. So I don't know. I just put that together. His bet. Also, look at his bet. Look how weak his bet was. He bet $2.11 into a pot of $4.45. This screamed weakness to me. This screamed like, let me just try and win this pot here, is what he was just trying to say. I thought a bet, he's going to probably fold. So I decided to just call the bet here with my pair of threes. Obviously, not a great hand, but, I just really felt like that he just was kind of bluffing me here with this slight bet of his. And as it turned out, he was. He had ace eight, so he just whiffed the board completely with ace high, and I took it down with ace three. So this was a great, definitely a great job by me doing some hand reading, and the fact that he put in that bet there, um, it was easy. It was definitely easy for me to call it, and I just I could have obviously easily lost his hand. There's a straight draw out there. There's a lot of stuff out there that possibly could have beat me, and he definitely had a good hand because he had a flush draw. He had an open-ended straight draw. The two was a whiff for him. He decided to bluff the two, and look, that's the problem. He bluffed a card that I was never going to believe was anything, so I wasn't worried about it. So you know what? Risky, of course, call, but again, his bet was really, really small. So, and I decided to make the call, and I got it. So, good job by me. So here I have 10-9 offsuit from the small blind, and it checks her. It folds around to me, so this is pretty standard for me here in the small blind, just trying to get the steal, and he does call it. And here I get top pair, so I decide to actually lead out with the top pair. The big blind is going to be calling. He's going to have a huge range here. So it's possible that he misses board here, 9-5-2, and no reason not to throw out a c bet in this spot here with top pair and just try and win it right here versus large range. But he decides to call it. And now the ace of clubs comes out. So now this is kind of a scary card for me here, because of course he could have his range is so big at this point. Now my hand, is definitely not so great. So I definitely decided to check it, and he bets it here. So in this spot here, I'm still going to definitely be calling the 9. I'm not going to be folding. I'm not going to just be nervous. Oh my God, he must have an 8. He must have an ace. So I'm definitely always going to be calling the 9. And a6 comes out. And again, I'm going to check. And he bets again. It's just a weak bet. $1.92 into 310. So you know what? He could. Obviously, he could have a better 9. It did. It did cross my mind. Is it possible he has ace 9? Ace 9 is definitely possible, and I thought about him possibly having ace 9. But he also, could have, been calling me with a 5. These guys do that. He could have definitely been calling me with a 5. He could be bluffing. Even though these guys don't bluff too much. We just saw a guy bluff. So I'm thinking it's like a 50-50 shot here. I'm thinking either I've won with my 9, or he has some kind of ace, and it's even remotely possible that he even has ace 9. But it's a spot that I'm definitely just going to bet here. I'm just going to call the bet here and just see showdown, and see what happens. And he does flip the ace 9, and that's fine. I'm perfectly happy with how I played this hand. It didn't work out the way I'd planned, of course, but I had second pair. I wasn't too worried about the ace. If he had the ace, so be it. It turns out he had the 9. He had a better kicker, and then he had 2 pairs. So no matter what, I was already losing this hand. Could I have folded? Sure, but I was perfectly fine with playing the 9 the way I did. So we get Jack 9 suited from the button. So we get so Jack 9 suited here. We get a bet from the middle position, and I call it from the button, which I think is an okay call here. I actually am going to probably be adjusting. I think part of my downswing is I definitely have been playing a lot looser. My VPIP has gone up to during this losing streak. My VPIP has actually gone up to 24. It was at 20, and I think I should be bringing it back down to 20 at the micro stakes, which is what crushing the micro stakes taught. So I'm going to be taking parts of crushing the micro stakes, parts of upswing poker. Because upswing poker is freaking amazing, by the way. I'm going to tell you that. And combine the two with their opening ranges, their calling ranges, and then with the concepts and the amazing stuff that you learn, the stuff you learn from upswing poker. I highly recommend it. It's expensive, but I highly recommend it. Anyway, I know you could be saying, how do you recommend it? You're on this like huge downswing, So I got to make some adjustments because, I do have to make some adjustments for the fact that I am playing micro stakes. Anyway, what do we got here? So we have Ace King 5. So he checks, and of course I'm going to definitely check behind. I don't really feel like I'm going to be sticking around in this hand for too long, of course. This is definitely something I'm going to fold at the first opportunity I get. And then what happens? This is interesting now, right? So we have... this is a really interesting spot, actually. I remember this hand, and I love this hand so much. Um, so, spoiler alert. So here's a 5, right? So we have a flush draw now. So my intention here is, and I didn't even think about this fully until after the hand, and I wish I had thought about it after the hand, how it ended up being played out. But so my intention here is, if he bets, I'm going to raise it. I'm going to raise the draw. This is something that I've been doing, and I like it, actually. I think it's a great move, okay, because it's a bluff, and it does work at times. If he bets, I'm going to raise it. It's a great spot to raise here for a couple of, and this is great for a couple of situations here. There's two 5s, right? So what could I be raising with? I could definitely be raising with a 5, right? I could definitely have 5. I could have 6. I could definitely have called this with 6-5 suited. Absolutely, right? Heck, I could even have quads, right? It's possible. I'd probably slow play quads, of course, but so more likely I'd probably have 6-5, right, if I raise it here. But I do have a flush draw as well, so I have so many outs to go here. I do have the flush draw, and I could definitely represent a 5. So he bets, and I put in a 3x raise. Now, he could definitely fold here. He can be worried about me having a 5, right? Or he can call my turn raise. So he does call the raise. And bam, a 3 comes out. So obviously the 3, not helpful to me. I didn't get my flush, right? I got nothing. I literally have nothing. He checks it. So I decide now's a good time for an overbet. So I did the overbet here, and this is something I do plan on doing more. This actually is the first day that I've tried these overbets, and they've actually been highly successful. So I did an overbet here, obviously hoping that he will fold, because if he thinks about it, he raised. I raised on the turn. Well, what am I raising on the turn with? I'm raising on the turn with 5s, right? Maybe I have a full house. I could even have a full house. I could have a full house. Maybe I had king 5. I could call king 5 here, right? So now when I overbet, it's putting him in a tough spot. And this is something I learned again from these guys here. It puts him in a tough spot with the overbet. So I overbetted here, and he folds, and bam. This is something that I'm going to have to start doing is when logically think about these bluffs. Okay, how am I going to get these guys to fold? I get him to fold and overbet. But this one here made a lot of sense because I raised right here. Great, I had the flush draw, but it happened to also be a 5. And he could easily put me in a 5. 3 5s. If he can't beat 3 5s, he's going to fold. So, there you go. Bam. We got... Give us in. What do we got? We got 4s is what we have here. Okay, so we get a min raise. I decide just to flat call the min raise, which is fine. And we get another call right there. Okay. So, what do I have here? I have a gut shot. I have a pair of 4s. So this is definitely something that I'm either going to check or call here. And he bets his pot size bet. Not too worried about the pot size bet. He open raised it here. I don't really feel like this really is going to connect with him in any kind of real way here. 7-3-6. He's opening from under the gun. So don't I'm not buying no pot size bet. So I'm definitely gonna just call this here with the fours. Like I said, I got the gut shot. I do have a pair of fours. Maybe I'll get a third four at some point. There's definitely some possibilities. Obviously, the third four to somebody with a five's not that great actually, but still, nine comes out. I don't remember what even happened here. He bet. So he bet again. He could definitely. I mean, one thing is for sure is he could definitely have like pocket pair, any kind of pocket pair, aces. But keep in mind though, also he bet 20 cents. I mean, the one thing I know about like most of the rec players, and I don't remember if he was a rec player or not. When they have like the aces and the kings and the queens, those kind of hands, they usually bet pretty big. So he bets here, and the bet is really, look at the bet. It's pretty small. $1.12 into 225. It's not a big bet. $1.12. Let's see. $1.12, and what are we looking at here? 225. So 1.12 plus 2.25. So 337. 24. Oh yeah. So the pot odds were 24%. I really got to get better at calculating that in my head. So the pot odds 24%. I mean, obviously, I'm definitely gonna call here. I have a gut shot, right? I have fours, can improve to three fours. So so look, I got two fours. I got fives. I'm getting 24. I'm getting 24% on 7 outs. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's terrible. So I'm gonna call it because I just feel like it's just good odds. And bam, this is interesting. Here's the four, but it's the four of hearts. So it completes a flush. But I'm not worried about a flush. I'm not going to be worried about a flush here. Um, you know, maybe it's because I'm thinking maybe it's, even if he has right now, he was sitting here calling me with tens. Obviously nines I'm worried about. I could be worried about nines. He could be worried about a flush, right? Um, so what did I do here? He checked it. Okay, I bet it, and I bet close to pot. So I bet close to pot, right? So what does he think? He could be thinking I could definitely have a flush. Okay, obviously he's not worried about the four. He's not thinking about the four. He's not thinking I have fours. I bet he's not thinking I have fours because he's not thinking fours are going to be doing this. Okay, he's worried about the flush. So it's interesting, right? If it was a four of clubs, what would have happened in this hand? He folds it. Okay. Did he fold? Did he fold a set of nines? Did he fold a set of sixes? Did he fold a set of sevens? Did he fold kings, aces? Maybe. I don't know. We'll never know. Actually, that's not true. We will know because this was played on ignition. And I'm going to take a look. Of course, I'm going to start this hand too because I want to know. I'm really curious to see how that bet worked out. And I bet pot because obviously, even though I have a set, it's such a vulnerable set, right? It's such a vulnerable set because he could have nines, because he could have sixes, he could have a set of sixes, he could have a set of nines. But you know what? He sees that flush come out. He sees me bet pot. I didn't bet full pot. I bet close to pot. Close enough. That's going to make him worry. I could have even overbet this here. But that's going to make him worry. So he's worried I have a flush. He folds. I'm going to be curious to see what he has. In fact, I'm going to make another, in 2 days, I'm going to make another video and you guys can see what they had. If you're curious. I mean, I don't know. And we got Jack 5 suited in the button. Okay, so I raised Jack 5 suited. Now, going forward, I will not be raising a hand like this because I'm going to be going back to the question micro stakes pre-flop ranges. But okay, for now, this is what we're worried about here. Jack 5 suited. We get a call from the big blind. Of course, the big blind could have anything. He's going to have a huge range. Jack 5 suited. It's pretty big range as well, but I don't know if he's going to put me on that big of a range. Yeah. Okay, so we got a flush draw. Beautiful, right? Perfect. So what am I going to do here? If he bets, I could raise it. I could call it. If he doesn't bet, I think I should definitely bet. So let's see what happens. He checks it, so I definitely should bet here, and I do. And I did a 2/3 pot bet. Yeah, I did a 2/3 pot bet here. Maybe it was like slightly bigger because just I'm lazy clicking the button. You click the button, it's like in 10. It's in 5 cent increment, 5 cent increment. So all right, anyway, 50 cents into 65 cents. So definitely gonna bet that here, and he calls it. And now we get a 2. So let's see. I don't remember what happened here. I checked it. Okay, and he checks it. I bet again. 3/4 pot bet. Just gonna keep it 3/4, 3/4, 3/4. Again with the flush draw. He could obviously fold here. He's checking twice. What does he got? Does he have a king? Yeah, maybe. A 9. He's got a big range, don't forget. Could have 2 pair. I don't know. He could definitely have that. But I'm just going to keep betting. Let's see what happens. Definitely going to bet. I got no reason not to continue to bet, because if I don't bet here, then what happens? I got to continue. It's a bluff. I got to continue it. He calls it. Okay. There we go. Bam. This is beautiful, right? We got the Queen of Hearts. We got the flush. This is perfect. So I was able to double barrel with the bluff that now has turned into the essential nuts, right? Unless he has an ace of hearts, which is possible. It's possible he has a flush draw as well. But I mean, come on. We got what, 5 cards here? It's highly unlikely that he's sitting there with the nut flush. So he checks it, and now, come on. Now we know he doesn't have the nut flush, because is he really going to check with the nut flush? Is he going to? No, he's going to want to get value. He's got $2.40. He's a rec player, right? He's got $2.40. So, of course, I'm just going to get them all in. I just bet 385. I don't do the whole shove thing. I like to do this, I like to do this 385, makes him think like, he's not putting me all in. Oh, why isn't he betting the whole entire thing? Maybe I'll call it. And he calls it, of course. And I don't know what he has. I'm going to mark this one too. I want to take a look, see what he had. But obviously, he'd never beat. He could have had a flush, of course, anything like that. But what I love about this hand is the fact that I was able to get three streets of value and get a flush. And that was a big prop for me tonight. I was down overall for the session, almost 2 buy-ins actually. But I was really happy here to be able to get 3 streets of value. So that's a good thing. And hey, that's me. Look at that, the kings. Again, kings in the small blind. Aces in the small blind. Ace, king in the small. I'm always getting these hands in the small blind. Why can't I get the good hands like here in the button? With a cutoff. Something like that. I don't got anything. Especially the button. Give me the button. I would love to have these hands in the button. That'd be great. All right, so we get an under the gun raise, 35 cents. So it was at 3.5 or something like that. I don't know what it is. All right, and of course here I'm going to definitely 3-bet the kings from the small blind, and we get a call. Okay, so we got 4-7-3. Obviously, I'm going to bet half pot here, and he's definitely going to call it. All right, so he could have really, really tough to say what he's going to have, but he could have aces, he could have queens. I think with him calling this here, he has aces, he has queens, maybe jacks. He called my 3-bet. So he could have ace king, could even have ace queen, and he's calling it. It's always possible. Maybe he has ace queen of ace queen of diamonds is always possible. He's obviously not going to have ace king of diamonds. But so aces, queens, jacks, ace queen is possible. Maybe some other kind of suited ace is always possible. He's calling that bet with it. That's fine. Get a queen here. Okay, so I'm having this hand. Okay, so I decided to bet again, and I think this is perfectly fine betting here. I'm betting for value. You could say, oh, well, now I should be afraid. I'm not going to be afraid of the queen, okay? I'm not going to be afraid that he has a set of queens, okay? I'm not going to be afraid of it. Why should I be afraid of it, okay? I got my king. I'm feeling pretty good here. Let me bet. If he raises me, then I can think about it. Then I can think about maybe what's going on here. Maybe he has a set of queens. Maybe he has, could have a set of sevens. It's quite possible he could have a set of sevens, right? So anyway, he shoves me. So now I have a decision to make, right? He shoves me. Maybe he has a set of queens. Ooh, boy, what a decision to make, right? I got to call it or fold it. Let's take a look, okay? $8.26. And it's $8.26 plus 5.8, 1406, 37%, man. But I can't fold it. I can't fold the kings. I can't. And I don't. And he has aces. So there you go. And another queen comes out. I never realized, because at that point I was like, yeah. I just kept saying king, 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 king. King didn't come out. So another queen comes out. It doesn't really matter. So obviously I lost the hand. And you know what? That's fine. But can I say something for a second? Okay, I played on Ignition. I played on ACR, BetOnline, Global Poker. It is amazing on all these sites. And I don't know if this happens in casinos. Maybe it does. How many times? I see it all the time. Ace, ace, king, king on the same board. That somebody has aces, somebody has kings. It's the weirdest thing. Okay, that's one of the times where you start to wonder: are these sites? What are they doing? Why do I see ace, ace, and king, king so many times online? It's really strange. And some people say, "Oh wow, ace, ace versus king, king." I see it all the time. How many times have you seen it? Trust me, you've played a gajillion hands. How many times have you seen ace, ace versus king, king on the same board? Tons of times. Okay. Okay, so we have ace-3 from the big blind. Suited, of course. And we get a limper over here. And, of course, I decide to raise the limper. And he calls. You know, even though I'm going to be out of position, I'm going to raise him there. I could check it, of course. But, you know, I have ace-3 suited. I'm pretty happy about it. So I'm just going to bump it up, of course. Of course, that could definitely mean that he has a pair of aces here, and I have a pair of aces here. My pair of aces, not so good. But I decide to check. Okay. I could have definitely c-bet this board here. In retrospect, probably should have c-bet it. I haven't been c-betting as much lately, and that's a problem. And that's another problem I think why I've been losing, is my c-bets are way down. This spot here, I definitely should have c-bet. I have top pair. Let's c-bet it. Come on, c-bet it, damn it. He bets. I call. Another ace comes out. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. This is great because I have an ace. Now I'm not thinking he has an ace. I'm not thinking he has an ace now. So I'm going to definitely bet here. I bet 3/4 pot, 75 cents. And I'm definitely expecting a fold. He doesn't have an ace. I'm definitely expecting a fold. And he calls. Does he have an ace now? 10 of diamonds comes out. Wow. Holy cow. 8, 9, 10. Jack Queen is a straight. Flush. Now Jack Queen. Would he bet Jack Queen? Jack Queen, yeah. Jack Queen. Gut shot. Gets there. He could bet that there. Jack Queen. Is Jack Queen betting the turn? Probably not. Probably not. So I'm not worried about Jack Queen. Ace. Yeah, I could be a little bit worried about the ace. I mean, I don't think he has an ace. I don't think he has an ace. It's possible, sure. But I don't think he has an ace. Flush. Yeah. I could see him betting flush on the turn, you know, chasing the flush draw on the turn, without a doubt. So he could definitely have a flush here. So I mean, he could have 2 pair, whatever. 2 pair, nah. 2 pair would be really. He could have it. It's ambitious to call that turn with 2 aces, because when you have 2 aces now, your 2 pair is no good anyway. If he had 9-8, 9-8's useless, right? Because 9-8's now useless, because now it's ace-9. So, interesting spot here. I check it. So I check it because I'm out of position. I check it with the intention to bet. So I check it because I'm out of position now. He bet this turn, and not only that, but not only that. Forget about the 10 for a second, okay? Forget about the 10. All right, let's make a 10. We never saw it. So he calls it. I'm already going to be checking. Before this, whatever this card comes out, I'm going to be checking, and I'm going to be calling. I'm going to call almost any bet, depending on what the size of the bet is. This ace now has me just a tad bit worried because I'm sitting here with an ace three, and unless he has ace two, I'm beating this hand. But I'm definitely going to call bet. Look at this bet. $1.11 into $4.49. Am I ever folding that? No, of course not. Definitely never folding that. I'm not going to raise him no either. Because, I don't know what's going to bet that's really worse here. So, of course, I'm just going to call it. And he has Jack 5. The question is, should I have C-bet? If I C-bet, would he have folded Jack 5? He might not. He might not have. He might not have because he bet the flop, right? I checked. He bet. I called. Ace came out. I bet. He called. So I mean, if he's not folding with two aces being out there, he's not folding with one ace being out there. So in retrospect, you know what? I'm okay with how this hand played out. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with how I played this hand. Okay, I'm perfectly fine with how I played this hand, and he gave me a great price. Oh, look, he was all in. All right, so $1.11, he was all in. No matter what, I mean, whatever. It doesn't even matter. I'm calling that bet, and I think I played the hand fine. I'm not worried about how I played the hand. It would have played out the exact same way. Okay. Kings. Hey, look at that. Kings in the small blind. Are you shocked? Maybe I'll face aces again. All right, so obviously the kings here in the small blind, and I'm happy that the big blind calls, so my kings aren't wasted. And we get 10 ace jack, and I have a king of spades, a king of clubs. This is great. I have the nut flush draw, right? Because I have the king of clubs. I have a pair of kings. This is a scary board though, right? What did I do? I don't remember. I checked it. Okay, so I checked it, which is fine. But I checked it with the intention to definitely call. I'm checking it with absolutely 100% going to call it, of course. Because even if he has an ace, I have a second pair. I'm not going to worry about a flush. Okay, I'm never going to be worried about a flush. Okay, if he has a flush, good for him. I'm never going to be worried about the flush. And he bets 40 cents into 60 cents. Okay, fine. I raise him. Why do I raise him? Because now this hand is almost like a bluff, right? I have the nut flush draw, but I also have kings. So it's not it's really a great bluff, right? Because I have the kings, I got the second nut I have the nut flush draw, really, okay? And I have kings. And his bet was so weak, right? Am I worried about aces? Am I worried about a set now? No, I'm not. I'm not worried about a set here. I mean, could he have an ace? Sure. He could definitely have an ace. Maybe he has ace queen, something like that. But I'm just not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. So I decided to raise him here. It really is kind of a bluff, because these people, they are terrified of flushes. They are terrified of flushes. We saw it with the 4. He shoves. Whoa, boy. Here we are again, right? So we just dealt with this, right? We just dealt with this. Now I could do two things. I could say, well, a few hands earlier, or whatever it was, maybe it was a half hour early, I don't know. I got killed by aces. It's almost a very similar situation, right? I get shoved. Can I be worried about the aces again? Well, here's the true story. No, I can't. Why? Because I can't worry about those things. If he has a great, I gotta call this bet. Why do I gotta call this bet? I have the kings. I got the nut flush draw. I have a straight draw. I got so many. This is great. I have great equity in this hand. I have great equity. I got to call it. And I do. And survey says he shoved me with Jack 7. So this is why you call it. And forget about the aces earlier. When I had the aces earlier, I got to call that hand. And I got to call this hand too. And this time it works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does work out. Okay, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. This time it works out. He has Jack 7. And I'm just, all I'm saying at this point now is either give me a club or don't give him an extra jack. Okay? And 2 hearts comes out, and a 3 comes out. So we win hand. And we get Queen 10. Queen 10 from under the gun. Okay. I bet the Queen 10 under the gun. We're four-handed. That's fine. Okay, we get a call, and we're two-handed. And we get a Queen 10. Hey, we got 2 pair. Okay, great. Yeah, okay, I remember this hand now too. Of course, I'm going to bet the 2 pair. I bet 3/4 pot there. Let's look a little bit small now. No, that's 3/4. I'm sitting there doing this on my calculator, by the way, in case you're curious when I'm trying to figure this out here. 0.76 times 0.75, 57 cents. Whoops! I meant to bet 57 cents. Oh well, he calls it. Um, so Queen 10 again. 2 pair. It's a great hand, of course. This is a perfect, wonderful hand. $1.69. What am I betting? This should have been $1.26. What am I betting like this for? My calculations must be either my calculations are off or this website is off. One or the other. He calls it, and there's the 3. So I checked it here. I don't know why. I don't know why I checked this. I don't know why I checked this. I should have absolutely bet it. What was I afraid of? All of a sudden, I was having monsters under the bed. Oh, can he have ace, king? No! Why didn't I bet here? He doesn't have ace, king. He would have 3-bet me on ace, king. C5 check. What happened to the results in his hand? I won the hand. I don't remember what he had. I don't know why. I don't know what happened here. Anyway, on that note, thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you liked it, let me know if you like this as opposed to the live play videos. I mean, I'll do some live play videos too as well. But I kind of like this here. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you saw, please do me a favor and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. And like it if you want. Nobody's ever liked any of my videos. If you like it, you'll be the first. Thank you so much in advance. Anyway, and by the way, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. And Happy Holidays. Here we go. Thank you for watching. Polka Dad out.